Hey, what's up guys, and welcome to my Giant Mole Efficiency Guide. So Giant Mole is a very simple and easy boss to kill, and it's a nice choice if you want a fast pet. With high combat stats, the proper gear, and Falador hard diary completed, it can offer about 600k per hour profit, which, while it isn't really comparable to other potential moneymakers, it does add up to something over time. The nice thing about this boss is that you can kill about 45 to 50 per hour, making it one of the fastest bosses to kill in RuneScape. So let's start off with the recommended stats, gear, and prerequisites. As is always the case with stats, the higher they are, the faster your kills will be. For this particular boss, you could still kill it just fine at 70 flat melees as a minimum for the Darok set. It will just be a bit slower than if you had higher stats. You must have 43 prayer for protect from melee also. As far as gear, full Daroks is the best option since you can sit on 1 HP and never die as long as you keep your melee prayer up, and you can put out some massive hits. Outside of that, best in slot gear will be Arty Cloak 4 or downgrade to a Fire Cape, Fury downgrade to Glory, Berserker Ring or downgrade to Warrior Ring, Dragon Boots, your best RFD gloves, and in the inventory for spec weapon you can use either a DDS or a Crystal Halberd. I personally use a DDS, but either one is a pretty viable option. They don't make much of a difference, and I just prefer DDS overall. You want to have either a Fighter Hat or a Serpentine Helm. Serpentine Helm will kill it slightly faster because of the inflicting poison on the boss. The disadvantage is that it uses a lot of money because scales are quite expensive at the moment, so I chose not to use it for a lot of my kills because it just seemed unnecessarily expensive. I take a Dragon Defender to go with the DDS, and also I take a Hasta for slightly increased kill speed. If you don't have either a Fighter Hat or a Serpentine Helm, just don't bring a Helm switch and stick with your Darok's Helm. Another very important influence to killing the Giant Mole is the Falador Hard Diary. This diary gives you the ability to use the Mole Locator option on the Falador shield, which will put an arrow on the minimap pointing to where the mole is in the lair. It also causes the mole to drop noted claws and skins, which will make your trips about 5 to 6 times as long as they otherwise would be. If you haven't done the Falador Hard Diary, killing the Giant Mole is a complete waste of time aside from the one kill you have to do to complete the diary. Notable skill recs for the diary are 72 Slayer, 70 Prayer, 50 Agility, and 60 Mining. All of them can be boosted aside from Prayer. If you don't have these stats and are looking for a moneymaker, there are definitely better moneymakers than Giant Mole anyways. Without the diary, it will be less than half the speed, meaning it will be very bad money and very bad kill rate. You should also make sure that you have the freeing the Mountain Dwarf section of the Recipe for Disaster quest done so that you can use the Rock Cake to keep yourself at low HP for maximum Darok DPS. As far as the potion setup, I bring 3 super combats, either 5 or 6 staminas. I'm going with 6 for this trip. It kind of depends, but either one will pretty much be fine. Trips vary, so you always run out of one type of supply, and it may not necessarily be the same one every single time, but 5 or 6 stamina should work fine. And then the rest of your inventory, you want to have prayer pots aside from 2 spaces. So it works out to 9 prayer pots if you have 6 staminas and 10 prayer pots if you have 5 staminas. And you want to run to the bank, and I usually pre-pot before I start my trips. So I drink a dose of super combat and I drink a dose of stamina potion. Another thing is that if you don't want to spend the money on super combats, you can just bring 3 pure sets and just get rid of 1 stamina, so bring it down to 4 staminas and get rid of 2 prayer pots, and that should still give you the same amount of inventory spaces, and your trips will just be slightly shorter. So I drink a dose of super combat, drink a dose of stamina, and then I open up the bank and deposit your Ring of Wealth and these 2 potions and bring out a couple new ones just to make your trip slightly longer. You want to make sure you have a spade in your inventory, of course, to get down into the lair, and leave 2 other inventory spaces empty. So you want to leave 2 total inventory spaces empty, and then once you get down there, you're going to drop your spade, because you really don't need it once you get down there, and spades are quite cheap to get. You want to have 3 total inventory spaces open when you're down in the lair at the start, because every time you kill it, it will drop 2 items guaranteed, and sometimes 3 if you get U-Logs or Blood Runes or something like that you would want to pick up. So once you're down in here, you want to make sure that you get your hit points down to 1 if you haven't already, and use your Mole Locator on your Falador shield. If you don't have it yet and you're doing it for the diary, you just have to run around and find it, and that's what sucks about it, but after you do that 1 kill, you should be set for the diary. I always start off the kill with all of my DDS specs. It's best to start the kill with DDS specs since once it drops below 100 HP, it can dig, so you want to be doing slower hits because it only can dig when you actually hit it. So I start off with the DDS specs and then I switch into the axe. And you want to use the axe for the majority of the time. Really, you just want to do like your first hit with the DDS spec whenever you have one, and if you don't have a DDS spec, you want to use your Hasta to do the first hit whenever you have one. Just get slightly faster hits because you can do a quick combo of a fast hit into the Darok's axe. Once it drops below about 30 hit points, you do want to switch to your Hasta. And this is where it's quite optional. You can just stick with your Darok's axe. It won't make much of a difference. It's just kind of nice to have the Hasta because it is a more accurate weapon, and when it's below 30 HP, both of the weapons can hit the full damage that it has left. So having the extra hit of the axe really doesn't make much of a difference since the Hasta can hit just as high as the axe can. It'll always drop 1 mole claw, and it can drop between 1 and 3 mole skins, so it'll average 1 mole claw and 2 mole skins per kill, which means 3 total mole parts every single kill. And what you want to do after you kill it is quick hop between 3 different worlds if you're higher level, or 2 different worlds if you're a bit lower level and not killing it quite as fast. Sometimes you get extremely fast kills, and even just having 2 worlds isn't enough. And most of the time 2 worlds will be fine, but once in a while you will kill it too fast, and then it won't be respawned on your second world. You do run into a lot of other people killing the boss, and oftentimes your worlds will be taken, which gets kind of annoying, but usually it's not really the person's fault that takes it because they don't see you there. So you just want to keep hopping around until you find open worlds and favorite those whenever you can, and just hope that people don't take them. It will happen, it gets kind of annoying, but you just kind of get used to it, and there's not really much you can do because people aren't deliberately crashing you for the most part. It's just a misunderstanding, really. But hopping between worlds is extremely worth it because the boss has a spawn time of about 90 seconds, and oftentimes you can kill it that fast because that's kind of your average kill speed. So if you don't hop around, it's going to take basically twice as long to do kills, so it's highly recommended that you do so. And if your mole locator isn't doing anything, that probably means that the boss is killed or it's just glitching out. The mole locator is a little bit buggy, it's kind of strange, and sometimes it will not work correctly, but most of the time it does work, and it makes your kills a lot faster and easier. So once you do find your next world, just rinse and repeat, do the same exact method to kill the boss, switch into your axe as soon as you do your fast DDS spec. Theoretically, you can kill this boss in 3 hits, even if you're just doing 3 axe hits and get really good RNG, but you could potentially do like a 40-40 DDS spec and then do 2 mediocre axe hits and kill it in 3 hits. So you can potentially kill it in like 10 seconds, somewhere around there, which is incredibly fast, but sometimes kills take over 2 minutes. It just totally depends on how much the boss digs and how many zeros your axe hits, etc. It's very RNG based, and your kill rates will vary hour to hour. But overall, you will average about 45 to 50 kills per hour if you have high stats and high level gear, which makes it an extremely fast and enjoyable boss to kill, and it just makes it so you can get very fast kills, and you can expect to get the pet basically in about 60 hours, which really is quite fast compared to most pets, and it's a pretty nice little pet. You can flick the rapid heal prayer to make it so you don't have to use your rock cake as often, because whenever you flick rapid heal, it resets the timer for your hit points to regenerate to a full 1 minute, so every time you hit the rapid heal, it'll go back to a full minute. Whenever you quick hop, it'll also reset the timer for your hit points and your stats to restore to go down a level or go up a level in the case of hit points, going back to their base. So quick hopping around also does make your potions last quite a bit longer, which is quite nice, because it's always resetting the timer. But yeah, whenever you can, flick the rapid heal prayer if it seems like your kill is going to take longer than a minute, and that will make it so you don't need to use the guzzle option, which really doesn't take any extra time either, but it's just a nice little thing that you can do if you choose to. When it does cause the dirt to splash on your screen, that would extinguish your light source if you didn't have the Candor headgear or a sapphire/bullseye lantern, so just keep that in mind. It will go out quite often if you don't bring those types of light sources. When I was killing mole, I was able to get between 70 and 85 kills per trip just based on RNG. And I would bank at clan wars using the minigame teleport so that I don't have to bring a Ring of Dueling with me to bank. And your trips will last close to 2 hours, so you will always have the minigame teleport available to you. And it's a nice way to bank and reset your prayer and everything between trips, and you just want to grab your Ring of Wealth and teleport back to Falador Park once you're ready to do the next trip. So that's pretty much it as far as killing the actual boss. It's very, very simple to kill, but if you have any further questions, definitely leave them in the comment section below, and I'll do my best to get back to you on that. But yeah, it's basically just a hit and prayer and run around type of boss. You don't really have to deal with any kind of special mechanics, really. It's just kind of smacking it and waiting for it to die for the most part, but hopefully that helped you out to get a little bit faster kills. So the next thing that people really ask about is, or you might be wondering about, is what kind of loot you get from this boss, like per kill, and whether you should exchange the mole parts for nests or whether you should just sell them to the GE. And also, I did get the baby mole pet on 4,485 KC, but the drop rate is 1 in 3,000, so I was a little bit unlucky there, but I did save all of the loot from about 4,470 kills, I believe it was, so I'll show you guys what kind of loot you can get and what you can expect if you do open up the nests. So this was the initial loot minus runes. I did not keep good track of the runes that it dropped, that I got from it, so it does drop law and blood and air and death and fire runes. And especially the law and blood runes would add up to a decent bit extra, but according to this price check right here, the average is about 15k GP per kill, and this is 4,474 kills, as you can see from the mole claws. So it drops, basically the majority of the loot is in the claws and skins, and then you get a decent amount of U-logs also, which add up to a nice amount. and you get a crazy amount of iron arrows that aren't worth a ton, but they do stack up over time. So you can bring the claws and skins noted to Wyson, the gardener in Falador, and he will turn them into nest packs for you that you can unpack at your bank, and you can open those up for seed nests, ring nests, and empty nests. For my sample, I found that this will always be the case. 10% of your nests will be empty, 15% of your nests will have rings in them, and 75% of your nests will have seeds in them. So it took me about 5 hours of very constant clicking to empty all these nests and to crush all the nests afterwards. But this is all of the different seeds and rings that I got from the nests. So only 8 magic seeds. I believe that those are 1 in 1,000 from the nest, since I had 10,000 seed nests, and I'm guessing spirit seeds probably are too, and I just got a few more of those. The herb seeds are Renar seeds, so that's almost 200 Renar seeds, which is a nice amount of money. And you get a lot of yew seeds and a lot of maple seeds also. You get lots of crappy seeds that really aren't worth much of anything, but some of the seeds do add up to quite a nice amount of money. And this is the total price check, adding in all of the items and the loot that I got from the nests. So just shy of 80 million coins from 4,474 kills that I had on sample. So basically it's an extra like 13 to 14 mil if you open up the nests, and it only took me about 5 hours to open up these nests, so it basically makes it over 2 mil an hour to open up the nest, which is definitely worth the time. So if you're thinking about selling the claws and skins, I would recommend you not do that and actually open them up, because you get quite a bit of extra money. But hopefully this video helped you guys out, and hopefully this is a nice sample if you're curious about the loot. And if you have any further questions, definitely leave them in the comment section below. Feel free to drop a like if this video helped you out, subscribe if you want to see more videos from me. Thank you guys very much for watching, and I will see you all later.